Hello, everybody. This is Leonard Johnson coming to you with another episode of the Run the Hammer broadcast. And we are waiting on Justin to get his device together. But in the meantime, welcome. And let's see here. Got it. Welcome and glad you were able to come back on. Justin Dana, coach at Lee Central High School, is having some issues with his device, so we'll give it a few minutes to see if he can get him logged in. I want to thank all of you for your support as always, and we had two fun sessions this afternoon, and it's always a learning experience on Sunday afternoon about how guys are running their programs and the great things that they're doing inside the programs. Of course, this is sponsored by the Leonard Johnson Agency. So if you need a update on your secondary retirement program, or need additional life insurance, or whatever you need, I can probably help you with it. Give me a call, and we'll see if we can get you going in some sort of positive direction. And I'm trying to, let's see here. Justin, can you hear me? Not working. I know he's working on another device, so we may have to shut down, come back in again, so we'll see. Tell you what I do, I'm going to mute my mic so I can talk to him if I can. Okay, people, we finally got Justin going here, and I'm gonna bring him on stage in a minute. Wow, good thing I didn't hang the telephone up. Okay, Justin, you are on. Justin, can you see me? I can't hear you now, Justin. Okay, make sure I didn't knock anything off. Try your. Can you hear me, Justin? But I can't hear you. Uh, Go back in your thing again where you saw camera and all that stuff and see if your mic is working. Still can't hear you. Can't hear you at all. What you got? Oh, you can. Let me call you. I'm put everybody putting myself back on mute again, people.
Can you hear me?
Let me hang this, make sure I'm hearing you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Let's rock and roll. Okay.
Technology is good until it doesn't work. So.
That's right, man. I don't know what you did, but you got it going all right. Yeah. Well, welcome, Justin. I'm glad you was able to fix all that up. You young bloods, y'all know how to fix all this technology stuff and everything. So I hope you had a good day today.
It's Sunday, definitely.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Well, you know how this roll, and so it's not your first rodeo with me. So let me go ahead and make some screen adjustments here. Make you the big guy. There we go. Now you should be full face in the screen. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Justin, I'm glad you we got all this fixed, and I'm glad you came on, and always one of my favorite people to talk with, and everything. So we're not going to be rushing. We're not under any time constraint. Technology is technology, so we get it going right here. How's everything going over there? Well, first of all, let's introduce yourself to everybody.
My name is Justin Danner. I am the head football coach at Lee Central High School in Bishopville, South Carolina. This is my 8th year at Lee Central, and I'm just happy to be here today with Coach Johnson talking some ball.
You've been there for 8 years?
8 years.
Oh, time has fly. Gosh.
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem that long, man.
No, I remember talking to you, I think, after my second year here. So, yeah, 8 years has run pretty quick.
Wow. Okay. Now, how has it gone for you over those 8 years? I know you've had some success, and I know you've been building that program to where it is right now. So tell us about that building program.
I've had a great experience at Lee Central. I came in 2015, and we were able to come in and build a coaching staff and have our kids accept, what we were trying to put together. We've worked hard over those years. We've had some up years. We've had some middle of the road years, and that comes along with coaching. So more so than anything, we've been able to have great administrative staff that supported us from top to bottom, from the district level to at the high school. I've been fortunate to have 2 men in leadership as far as my superintendent, Mr. Bernard McDaniel. I know you know him well. He's a former football guy, and have Coach Barron Turner, Mr. Turner, to be my principal. It's just been a blessing to have people in position that can support what you're doing. And I think from that, it's helped us to be able to put our football program together, as well as our athletic program in general.
Mm-hmm. Now, you have had staff and everything roll in and out and everything. What's your current staff looking like right now?
We've got about 6 guys total, staff-wise. Of those 6, it's 4 of us. Four guys daily, with us. So, with those guys, we're able to roll our sleeves up and get the work done. So, small ball is tough, because you've got to go to work even in some larger classifications. Sometimes it's not quite as many. So we don't complain. We go to work, because if you're complaining, you're not working. So we have who we have right now. And I have a really, really great group of men that I've surrounded myself with. So it's a joy every day to go to work with those guys.
Now, you came from that steady tree of Coach Jeffrey.
I did.
Yeah, look like y'all all over the place.
We're still hanging on. We're still hanging on.
Yeah. What kind of influence did Coach Jefferies had on you, man?
I think for me, Coach Jefferies was definitely a player's coach. He was the guy that, you didn't want to disappoint. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. So, definitely being from Orangeburg, I had an opportunity to see Coach Jefferies growing up. So having him come into my home and me telling him that I wanted to be a Bulldog was, one of the biggest moments in my football career. And then having an opportunity to play for him, and he's what you see. He's a laugh. He's a serious voice. He's a stern hand when he needs to be. He definitely modeled a head football coach, and for that I'm ever so grateful.
How many guys does he have coaching right now? I was sitting here. I was going through your bio that you sent me, and I just had to pause for a minute to say, I wonder how many guys does he have coaching, in this state.
Oh man, I guess we'd be sitting up for a while. I could probably think of at least 7 or 8 guys just off the top of my hand that definitely, and they may not be head coaches right now, but definitely coaching. So I think that there's been a lot of coaches that played for Coach Jefferies and are currently still coaching.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like y'all got a lock on the state. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to get in.
Right. There's a lot of them out there. We'll be battling with each other after a while,
Yeah. Now, what were from 8 years ago, 7 years ago, to right now? What has been the major change in your program from the last time we talked?
I think that was something that you kind of hit on just moments ago. You said, that guys have kind of rolled in and rolled out. When you are looking to build a program, I think that that's one of the pieces that a lot of people, forget about, is that you've got to set a standard for your program, and you got to accept that there are going to be some coaches that are going to be with you over time, and then there are going to be some guys that leave, and, I'm just talking, but, over time, some coaches will have more impact than others, but nonetheless, it changes your program every year as every coach kind of goes in and out, but you've got to be able to hold on to your core values of your program. And I think that will help keep you steady as change happens. So I think that's been the biggest piece. We've had, pretty consistent administration. So that's been pretty steady. And, some years you're just going to have kids that were there at one time that you kind of wish you had every year, and that could help you build. But, that's what football is. It's just ever so changing. You'll have to be able to, move and kind of change as the kids you have change. But more so than anything, I think the program has just been pretty consistent, and I think that starts with our administration being consistent.
What about the kids? Have you seen a dramatic change in the attitudes of the kids of how they react to you, for lack of a better term?
Yeah. Just speaking with coaches, I don't think it's the kids at Lee Central. I think it's just the kids, overall. We might have come up and our coach was, very stern, and I try to make sure that I'm a very stern football coach and try to make sure that I'm holding our kids accountable. Today's kid doesn't always accept accountability the same way, even in the last 4 or 5 years. So I think it's important, for you as the head football coach to understand who your kids are and, what you're dealing with. And then you'll kind of try to take that approach with some of them. It'd be easy if I could just go ahead and raise some cane and get it done. But, surely it's not that in the day's time that we're living in. So we've got to transition, be able to listen more, be able to not necessarily compromise, but maybe see it a little bit more from their perspective. And long ago, our coach didn't want to see our way. He was going to do it, and that was it. And we accepted that. We came out there accepting that. But today's kid is a little different. And it's not all bad. It gives you an opportunity to look at things in a different perspective yourself. So and say, did we get better from doing it that way? So,
have you seen yourself growing over the last 8 years?
Definitely patience. Definitely patience. Definitely some patience. I think when you become a coach, you start thinking about, that day where you lose some of your fire. I still got some sparks now, you know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely not 21 years old, so I think that there's got to be different means to an end sometimes. So I've worked hard to, use my experiences that I've been a part of as a coach, not necessarily as a head coach, just within coaching, as well as trying to make sure I surround myself with great mentors. I think that coaches got to have mentors. So I'm always trying to make sure I check in with the OGs to make sure that I'm trying to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm. Now, without naming names, what was the last quote unquote OG that you talked to, and what was the? No, let me rephrase that question. What did you talk about that you were having an issue with your last OG? And I don't ask you that question to get involved in it, but I'm really talking to the younger guys or some coaches who are having problems with actually reaching out and say, I just don't have an answer for this. And it's okay not to have an answer.
Yeah. Well, and I don't mind. I speak with two guys regularly. My high school coach, which is Tommy Brown, and another one of my high school coaches, which was Daryl Page. And, we're in the midst of football season right now. And those guys constantly check in on me. And if I don't check in, definitely Coach Page will be talking some trash. But, just trying to make sure that I talk to those guys about staying the course. And, you want to bend on some things, but then there are going to be some things that you don't want to bend on. So I think so much right now that while you're going through football season, you want to get a little bit of reassurance that, you're doing the right thing as far as keeping your standards. And, because I think for all of us, once we kind of bang our heads against some things, we want to bend on some things, but we got to make sure that you're being reassured that you're doing the right thing. So those guys will let me know without a doubt. They won't sugarcoat it. They'll let me know. They'll talk to me just like I'm still playing for them. So, and I appreciate that from them. So, like I said, I think every coach has got to have some mentors and some guys that'll give it to them straight, not as much as guys just kind of get on your bandwagon and just disagree with what you've got to say.
Do you preach that to the guys who are currently under you right now?
Absolutely. They'll tell you in the blink of an eye, and I'll tell them, man, get off the fence. If I'm talking and if you don't feel like it's right, say something. We are all in it. We are all brothers as we're working together. We have a great working relationship, and we'll be able to take the gloves off. And if I feel like that there's a coach that doesn't agree, if he's showing a facial expression, man, we'll ask him, hey, what you think, man? Say something. It's only going to help us. There's nothing in the room that's going to make anybody feel a certain kind of way. And it's always the groups of coaches that kind of walk off, him and Han, and we don't have that on our staff. And everybody's in. And, that's one of the pluses by having a smaller group of coaches, that we're always together and we're always trying to figure out what's the best thing. So I'm constantly making sure that I push that envelope. And we don't even have that problem where people are worried about saying, I've been fortunate to have a lot of coaches on my staff that are current head coaches of other sports. So they understand the importance of having guys working for you as well as working hard while being an assistant for football versus another sport.
Now, how long have this group of guys been with you?
Well, I have one guy that it was here since my very first year. He's been here, Jamie Mack. He's been with me since my very first year. My offensive line coach and offensive coordinator, he's been here since my second year. I have one other coach that came, and he actually played for me in high school. He's been with me here now 4 years, and he's my defensive coordinator. And I have the rest of my staff has been here pretty much 3 years, 2 years, and I just picked up assistant coach this year. He's in his first year with me. He's not a first-year coach, but he is a first-year coach at Lee Central High School.
When you are looking for a coach, what are you looking for?
For me, it's pretty simple. You know, a lot of people come in and say they're looking for loyalty. Sure. I want to know if your dependability, you know, and I want to know if you are trainable. You know, I think that's important for our football program, and that's at Lee Central High School, because, you know, you can have guys that aren't there, and that's just not going to work. So being here is going to be important. You have to be at our meetings. You have to be at practice. You know, those are some of the key things. And, you know, we all know our own kind of football, but, you know, once you come onto a staff, you have to trade some of those things to be able to come onto this staff and say, okay, I'm willing to learn the way that we're doing it here. So I'm looking for guys that are again, willing to be trainable, and guys who are dependable. You know, I think the loyalty part will start to happen over time. You know, you can, you know, get a guy and say, hey, man, are you loyal? And of course they're going to say they're loyal. You know, you don't even know them that good yet. But I think just over time, you know, that loyalty piece will come. So that's important for me, guys wanting to come in and do the job, not necessarily worrying about it being them. You know, we're still trying to create a team atmosphere. So being a part of a team is just like you dealing with a kid. You know, we can't have those locker room lawyers. We can't have those coaches on our coaching staff who are walking out saying everything else or just don't agree with what we're doing. You know, we've got to be all in, starting with us.
You when you go looking for a coach, do you have the luxury, and I use that word,
Yeah.
do you have the luxury of getting a coach who is knowledgeable about your systems offensively and defense, or you have to get whatever coach you have and teach what you want?
You know what? Over the years, I used to hear coaches, you know, always talking about, man, I got to get some coaches who know. I got to get some coaches who, you know, got experience. And I think that has its part too. I'd like to be able to bring in the right guy who has some tenure, who has some experience. And sometimes, you know, and we're all probably guilty, you know, we're probably a little harder to deal with at times because we've got a lot of football experience. So I've not had a lot of coaches with football, you know, a lot of football experience. So, but I've had a few over time. And in the more recent years, you know, I picked up, you know, a couple of guys who weren't as experienced, but they were very eager to work, very eager to learn. And that's one of the things that we definitely try to do, you know, year round is work to become better coaches at what we do and try to learn as much as we can learn about everybody else so that we can be a better football program.
We used to have the issue with education of coaches, you know, back in the day.
Right.
But as we were struggling with this technology thing here, the information is so widespread now. Do you have system in place where educational coaches, I guess that's what I'm going, whether they learn their skill, do you have that in place for the coaches, or do you, what are you doing? Let's put it like that.
For us, and I'm gonna be honest, and it just happened for us, and I don't know whether you know or not. In 2020, we did not have a season, and one of the things that our coaching staff did is that, you know, we, you know, kind of held clinics with each other. You know, we had our, you know, every week we had a list of topics to cover, and our offensive coaches presented to our defensive staff and vice versa. And we went through each one of those topics, you know, and we had our coaches present them back. You know, that would kind of force you to be knowledgeable. I think a lot of people, you know, can kind of fake the funk sometime about what they know, but you can't fake it when you got to go teach it, you know? So we taught each other, you know, and I was there, and the coaches, offensive and defensive coordinators were there, and we had about 10 topics to cover, you know, from every piece of what we were trying to do, so that we would have guys that were strong enough, coaching each position if necessary, you know, so that we could bring in the best guy. And maybe a guy had to shift, you know, if another coach that we were bringing in was better at another area. So walking away from that coming into 2021 last year, all of our coaches were just so much stronger. I knew our group. I learned a lot more about different things, and I'm sure every coach did. And we've even talked about how impactful that was. We just didn't sit around and twiddle our thumbs and cry that we just didn't have a season. It was about what we were going to do to help our team be better moving forward. And I thought that our staff did a great job of doing it. And that's one of the things I talk about when you accept a position. I don't want to spring anything on you, halfway down the road that we're going to be doing something different. You're going to know up front, what this job is going to come with. And, if it doesn't work for you, and that's fine, no love lost, but, these are the things that you're going to do.
On going to your kids, of course, they didn't play because of COVID that year.
Right.
How did they rebound last year?
I thought they did a great job of rebounding. We had a really, really good group of seniors, and they led our football team. It's amazing how much kids really realize not having something means. So we had a great group of seniors, maybe about 12 guys, and we picked up a couple of guys who hadn't played before that I guess after sitting home for a year, man, some guys are willing to do anything. So that group really led us. We finished second in the conference that year, and I couldn't have asked for a better ending other than going to the state championship. Of course, we've all got that dream, but I thought our guys rebounded well. And it was a hard fight to get them where we wanted to in the beginning. People were at home for a year eating snacks, man. So those guys came back, out of shape, and it was important that we didn't push our energy into them after not sitting, just to say, hey, man, we got to get in shape. We got to run. We didn't want to run them off, so we made sure that they understood it was a process and that we were all in it, and we were gonna work our way back. So, spring was definitely not a normal spring practice for us. And, and the summer was slower. And we got our big guys back into some shape and just got them back into a routine of getting out of the house. And I think over time, the kids really appreciated just being amongst each other. And it worked out for us.
That was a devastating thing to come back from not playing at all, having the whole season shut down and everything. But that's not your call.
Right. I think that for our community, it was a call that was made, and they did it because they felt like it was the safest thing for our community at that time. School wasn't in, and it was going to be hard for us to say we were going to be back to play football, and we weren't in school. So it was definitely a crushing blow, but it was one that was over my head, and in many cases, it was in the world at that time. So they made a decision. I understood it. I respected it. And, I had to determine what were we going to do next to help our football team be better, because we were going to come back one day.
What did you do during that period? Man,
let me tell you, I went crazy. I went crazy for about 2 weeks. I just didn't know what to do. So I was kind of wanting to see where if I could help out anywhere, as an assistant somewhere, I was just home, wanting to probably, see if I could stay in football. And that's when I kind of, took the angle of why would I kind of really go, that far, in another situation. I probably got to tie back into my own program. I actually was probably going to go back with one of my last stops, and I spoke with our higher ups, and they were kind of not feeling that was a great move, just for the sake of what it would look like, and I didn't want to be participating someplace else, and my kids weren't, because they were still available to travel places, and they of course I didn't want them to see me being with any other program other than Lee Central. So even though it was a great opportunity for me to stay active, I thought that it'd be better if I pour into us.
Now you got through that. You got them ripping and wrong and everything. Went through last year. Now How's this year going?
Well, in coaching, it's going to get a little cold sometime and you get young. And, I think that when you sign up, you feel like, man, I'm just going to be this great football program. And you forget about the times where you're starting over and you're young and you've got young things. You've got some immaturity. You got some development that's got to happen. Everybody's not quite ready to move like you think they should move, especially when you're older the year before. So, I'm excited about where our young group is going. Right now we're 3-3, and we played a few good football teams. And, I thought we played a game or so that we had a chance to win that we fell short in, and we won the last two. So right now, I don't know if saying that, hey, we won those games, we would have learned some of the lessons that we may not learn until later. So I'm pretty happy about where we're at as far as development and growth. And we're just hopeful that we can take some of those lessons and apply them as we take our next step in conference play.
Now, you're at this point right now where you're almost going, this is the 8th year, right?
Yes.
The 8th year. 5 years from now, where do you expect this program to be? Where do you want it to be?
Well, I think that where would I want it to be? I would definitely want it to be a program that was definitely recognizable as a top tier program. And I know that comes with a lot of different things would have to fall in our favor. So right now, I think we've got a lot of things in place. I talked earlier about how strong our administration is. I think that that's where you start when you're talking about building a great program. We've been consistent as far as having people in place. So that helps that you don't have new people, coming in and out of your doors because everybody takes the program differently. And we've got a good feeder program going right now. I talked about those coaches that were on my staff. 2 of the coaches that are on my staff, they coach our B team, which consists of the 7th, 8th, and 9th graders right now. And after our first year coming back from the pandemic, we were struggling at that level. So once we felt like we had to get stronger coaches there. And the first year was tough, just like any other program. But, in year 2 right now, I think they're doing a pretty good job. We've got good numbers of kids. So just finding a way to get kids out, and consistently stay in your program. I've been able to see pictures of teams of years past at the middle school level. And by the time they're at the high school, there's only about 4 or 5 guys that are still playing. So just trying to make sure that we build that pipeline and have them still participating by the time they're in high school, already understanding what's expected of them.
Does your staff buy into your expectation of where you want to be 5 years from now?
Absolutely. Currently, I think other than the one gentleman who's a defensive coordinator, he's from Orangeburg as well. But the rest of the football staff are Bishopville guys, so they have high expectations of the kids in their community. They want to see the best for them, no matter what anybody ever says. These guys will do anything to help those kids in that community, and they want to see it, and they believe it to be, the best high school in the state. So we've got guys that are committed, and that's what you want to have, and you want guys to be able to share that belief.
Part of that is your parent support. How has that been over the last 8 years?
I guess they figured that I'm not going anywhere yet, so they've accepted me pretty well. I think they understand that I try to be a no nonsense guy, but I do want what's best for their kids. I think that the kid sells who you are to the parent. And I try to be consistent with them. Whether it's me being the disciplinarian, whether me, being able to talk to them if they're going through something. I want the kids to be able to know that they can count on me. And I think that they they relay that. So I get pretty good feedback from the parents. Most cases, every now and then on Friday night, they try to give me some directions of where to go, but that comes with it too. So I'm a big boy. I signed up for it, so it's all good.
Now, parents and fans are two different animals.
Correct.
What about those fans?
Oh yeah, listen, and I tell my coaches at times because some of them, we are very much alike. All of them. I just like to tell them that I'm probably just a couple of years ahead of exactly where they are. So we all in the same boat. And when you coach, you have to accept everybody that's paying that $7 to get into the gate. Everybody that doesn't know all the things that go along with it. And of course, they got to answer for whatever's going on the field. So we try to play a deaf ear to all of it. A couple of years ago, I used to work with a coach, and they made sure that he had the right pair of headsets on. So I made sure when I took this job that I got a headset with double muff, so I can kind of just make sure I don't hear anything. I look back and I can't hear anything but the coaches in my ears. So we definitely care about the parents, and we care about doing the right things and being successful to make our community proud. So we got love for the fans too. And you just understand that it comes with that.
I never wore one of those headsets during the game. I don't know. Never did like them.
Really? Yeah, I need them. How about that?
Yeah. It's a weird thing.
I need them.
Yeah. Now, this year going forward, where do you see yourself finishing?
Well, I'll tell you what, we are in the, like I said, we are a 5-team conference, and my next 3 opponents are stiff. So, man, I'll tell you what, we are working very hard right now to fit, to try to fit in somewhere, to be a playoff football team. I like to tell you, man, we're gonna go out there and walk the dog, but we're on an uphill journey right now. We got Marion is playing really well. We've got Andrews, who's been a solid program, and they're doing really well this year. And then we've got Kingstree, who just merged with C. Murray. So don't walk me down that lane and have me on here talking about we about to cut some butt all week for the next 3 weeks.
Go on, man.
I think that if we're doing the right thing and our kids are committed, and we'll just have to see what happens. That's why we coach, I definitely, see, some good in some things that we're doing, and I definitely see some bad as well. But, we'll definitely, from a coaching perspective, be pushing our kids. We'll make sure that we're holding our kids accountable to the way that we want to do it, and we're gonna go at them, and we'll see what happens. But we definitely want to be a playoff football team, whether that requires us to win all 3 or 2 or 1 or whatever it is. We definitely want to make our way to play in the postseason. That's what our goal is.
Now, who do you start off with region play?
We played Mullins this past Thursday, and we won that game. So we're 1-0 in the region, and then we'll of course have Marion, Andrews, and then we'll finish with Kingstree.
Okay, not a bad region.
Not a bad region.
Interesting region. Well, you're not. Well, I won't even say that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we better tie our shoes up tight.
Yeah,
you better tie them up tight.
Yeah. Now, you talked about your principal,
Coach Turner, Baron Turner.
Yeah, Baron. I don't know why I couldn't remember Baron's name. No, Baron hadn't slipped you a play or 2 in the back and put it in your back pocket yet.
I tell you what, he has not slipped me a play in. But one thing about it, Coach Turner is Bishopville through and through.
I know.
He's going to show up for every game, and not just for football. He's going to show up for every sports event, every game, and he's going to provide you with the support. After a tough loss, and a lot of people may not know it, coaches don't like to talk to many people except coaches. And no matter what game it's been since I've been there, he'll shoot me a text message. Most times he'll be sitting by the fence to make sure he says, "Good job, coach," or he'll say, "Hang in there, man. I know what it's like." So, that in itself gives you a great feeling about where you're at. And I can have a lot of conversation with other coaches that are singing a different song.
Yeah.
But, I have that where I'm at, even from my superintendent as well. As I said earlier, both of them are former football guys. So to be able to, hear from them when it's rough or hear from them when it's good, it's been a good deal.
What do you do with your kids when things are not going your way?
Well, I try to keep a steady pulse with our guys, especially on Mondays. We kind of have a team address. We meet in the weight room, and we try to not go into the next week before we air out, what things are going on or have went on for the past week in the direction that we need to heading into this week. So I think even our talks after practice, I try to make sure that I'm open about everything that's happening on our football team. And I want our kids to understand we are in it. It's not coaches than players. I think we all have a big part to play as far as us being successful. We all have a job to do. We've got a job to do. They have a job to do. So just trying to openly talk about where not doing the things that come along with football is going to lead our football team, making good choices, not making a selfish choice is going to impact what we're doing. So I'm constantly preaching. I'm sure I'm a broken record to many of our kids, and but at least they expect that at the end of the day, Coach Dan is not going to allow it to be another way other than the standard. So we want to make sure that we're holding them to it, no matter whether we're 3-3, whether we're 6-0, or whether we're 0-3. You're going to do it the way that we're going to ask you to do it. And, what people don't realize is that if you start letting that slide, it's not just going to lead you to a bad season. It will impact the younger players, because the younger players are now seeing that this is what goes on the football team. I was on the team and Coach Dana let them do this or let them do that. And I had to learn that as a coach. I came in fire and brimstone when I took the job. And, over some years, you start having some guys that are on your team, and you've made relationships with families. You've made relationships with those players. And some of those guys can go back to not doing the right things. And they're actually a senior at this point. And it's a little harder to pull that trigger on that guy. But I quickly had to learn that it doesn't matter what year you are. It matters if you're doing what we've asked you to do, and that's be committed to the program, be committed to your teammates. And, I had to learn that, and I had to send some kids on, and, we've been able to kind of keep things steady since then. And kids got to remember that, you're not too big, you're not too old, it doesn't matter who you are, that everybody has to do the right thing.
Has any one of those kids that you've sent on have ever come back?
Ooh, you know what? I've sent a kid on probably early before, and I've given them an opportunity if they can do the right thing in the building. Everybody can watch a couple of bowl games, and they all jacked up. They saw the Super Bowl, and they, Coach Dan, I want to play football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Well, show me. Let me see you doing the right thing in the building. Let me check with your teachers. We all make mistakes, and we all don't do it right. So even now, you try to hold kids accountable to things, and then sometimes they're gonna make mistakes. And you may have to put a kid on probation before you just can them. You know what I'm saying? Because we all make mistakes. So the rule still has to be, as a coach, and I think a lot of, whether it be fans and sometimes even parents, understand that you are here to help the kids. You are not here to save them, and because if you save that one kid, you're forgetting about the others. Okay. So, it may be the best thing for that kid. I had a parent I spoke to some years ago. We had a kid take some things that didn't belong to him. And the mom was, desperately saying, hey, can you just put him back on the team? And I said, it probably would be the best thing for him, but it wouldn't be the best thing for the rest of the guys. And you got to make those tough decisions, and those things hurt you too, but you've got to do what's best for everybody.
Yeah. How's that kid doing now?
He's doing pretty good. He's looks to be working, and looks that he's not been in much trouble. So, I think that maybe that, being taken away from him may have impacted him, and he may have learned from it.
The sun came up the next day.
It did. It did. The sun came up.
Well, I know one thing. You got two of the best support people around you, and that's Bernard and Barron. And,
Absolutely.
It's going to get right. I can tell you that right now. It's going to. They're in your corner always doing the right thing. Wow, time, even with the burnt time, it went away.
Yeah, it goes quick once we start talking ball, man.
Yeah. Before I let you go, I got 2 questions to ask you.
Okay.
If you've seen some of the podcasts, you know what the question is. Have you seen it?
I've been working so hard.
That's
I
all right.
haven't had a chance to see many.
Well, that's good. Here are the 2 questions. You got 1 hour to spend with 2 people in this world. One of them being a football coach, and the other one being just a regular person. Who would those 2 people who would those 2 people be, and why?
I think the regular person that I would probably spend you said an hour with
1 hour
would be Denzel Washington. I think I'm a big fan of Denzel Washington. Just his story, about his journey to the success that he's had. I think a lot of people just see him on the screen and just realize he's a great actor. But, a lot of times if I can get a moment, I will listen to some of the motivational things that he's put out there. And I just respect him a lot. I think he's a great man. Football coach, right now, the guys that I talk to, they're my heroes. Even my high school coach and Coach Page and those guys. Coach Calabrese, I will not be remiss. I worked for Coach Calabrese at Hartsville. Was definitely one of the most impactful parts of my coaching career, having an opportunity to work for him. But I think I'm an Alabama fan. I think if I had an opportunity to sit with Coach Saban, he's a famous coach, and be able to hear some of the things that he's been able to do throughout his years. I think he's done an excellent job as a football coach, and maybe I can take something away from him.
Well, that's fantastic, man. Well, Justin, I really enjoyed you being on here. This is your 2nd or 3rd time with me.
Yeah, definitely. I was on it some years ago.
Yeah.
When we had the phone call going, man. I remember.
Yeah. So it won't be your last time. I can tell you that right now.
I just appreciate you, spotlighting coaches and, giving folk an opportunity to maybe learn them a little bit better than what's behind the ball cap. So I think you're doing a great job, and it's definitely a joy to be able to have you still in the game, man. You never left. You're still right here. Either you're on the other sideline. I still haven't forgotten that butt cutting you gave me my first year at Lee Central. Now you rolled in there on us now, but I guess you're still right now being able to help young coaches grow, and then it's important, and I'm thankful for you.
Oh, somebody help me. So it's what's that thing? Pass the torch on, or pass it down, or whatever they're saying the thing. But I really appreciate you being on, man, and I'll be watching from afar. And I hope you all the best and everything. Thanks again for coming on, Don.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, man. Take care, and we'll talk later, okay?
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye. And that was Justin Danner from Lee Central High School. And boy, from the first time we talked, and he talked about some of these things about being a firebrand, and then reality set in, and he had to change. And if you're not changing, you definitely won't be along, because these kids are different these days, and just got to be able to reach them to get to your way of thinking. That does it for this week, people, and I apologize for the delays in the beginning of this segment, but technology is technology. If it's working, it's working. If it's not, then you got to wait till it wants to work again. Until next week, when we get our next 3, y'all have a good week and talk to you later. Bye-bye.